Hey guys, I'm Dr. Anime, I'm the gamer, and I have another channel called the Parody Boys. I'm not sure which one I'm going to put this on, but I wanted to do a review on the series Cobra Kai Season 3. I watched all 10 episodes in one day, yesterday. I was going to make this last night, but my battery was dead, so I had to charge it, but then it was late and I had to go to sleep to get ready for work in the morning, so I'm doing it now. So this is a spoiler review, by the way. So I'm gonna give you guys on count to 10, give you guys the opportunity to click off if you don't want any spoilers. Watch the 10 episodes yourself, and then come back and check this out and see if you like what I had to say. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here we go. So the first episode starts with pretty much the continuation of the last season 2 episode 10, where it pretty much walks us through like the events of what happened and what brought us here. And Miguel is fighting for his life, and there's a bit of a time skip too of 2 weeks, and we don't really get that much information on how much time passes here and there throughout the season. Except I know this is one of the ones that informs us that it's been 2 weeks that he's been in a coma, and we know time passed because Johnny now has like a bit more rough of beard, like a little bit, not too much. And he's been going to bars, well, not bars, but like bars, restaurants, stuff like that. And he would get himself drunk, and he typically would get into a fight. And we know this because he's at a bar where he's just drinking, and then the news comes on and is talking about Miguel. And then these two guys who are kind of being jerks, they change the channel, and they pretty much badmouth Miguel, and Johnny pretty much follows them as they go into the car garage or in their car, they're just talking about what they're going to do next. And Johnny just breaks the window, pulls the guy out. This guy's big. He pulls him out and he's hitting him, and then the other guy comes out, but Johnny's drunk. So like Johnny, if he was sober, he would be able to handle this no problem. But like he tries to like hit the guy, and he missed because he's drunk. And then the guy like starts to hit him, and the other guy gets up, and they're both hitting him. But not really both hitting him, but like the second guy like was hitting him more than this other guy came when he like called the cops. And then as the other guy is like off screen, like going to call the cops, he says, "You're dead," and then he like kicks him in the face, seemingly knocking out Johnny. And Johnny wakes up, and not wakes up, but we see Johnny in the jail cell, and he gets pretty much bailed out by his one of his old friends, the priest. Who was it? Johnny? Was it Duke? Dang it! No, Bobby. It was Bobby, right? I think it was Bobby. But dang it! Sorry, it's 10 episodes. I'm sorry. And I know they mentioned Dutch. He mentioned Dutch in one of the episodes, but he bailed him out, and Johnny. This is like later on, but like Johnny goes to the hospital. Like he had to sneak in because Miguel's mom doesn't want him being around her son. So he sneaks in, and by doing so, he had to like hurt himself because they wouldn't let him in. So he hurt himself by hitting himself in the head with the napkin dispenser. So he had like a cut right here on his head. And after the this is what's crazy. Like the nurses there are like talking to him like, we had to keep him overnight. There's blood in his urine. And they go, "Oh no, that's fine. A little lemonade and jam." And it happens. It clears out in like 3 days after, like, because he's been in a fight, and he tells them that. And then they're looking at him like he's crazy. And he goes, "But I do have a question. What about this?" And like he lifts up his shirt, and it's like on his back is like a messed up bruise. And then the nurses just look at him like he's crazy and be like, "We'll be right back." And they leave. And then I don't know what Johnny was thinking at that moment, but like he leaves, and he goes into Miguel's room, and he's giving he's giving him like a motivational speech saying like, you could do this, you could fight through this, I believe in you, kind of thing. And eventually a nurse comes in and he has to leave. And like what we see is Miguel is in a coma still, but he's fighting, but like karate fighting. Like it started off in the episode 1 like this, like he's fighting an All Valley tournament, and he's like pretty much fighting like because he's a reigning champ, so like he wants to become the champ again once again. So he's fighting this one guy, and this guy is really good. Like he's like, I think Miguel had a point already, but he gets a point off of Miguel, and after a while it shows other characters as well. So it shows how Sam is dealing with it. She seemed more aggressive, like towards wanting to be prepared. So she tries to train the other Miyagi-Do students because she's the most trained there. She's been training since she was a little girl. Even though she stopped training for a bit, she began training again with her dad back in season 1 and throughout season 2. So she's the most trained. So she was gonna help them continue their training because Cobra Kai never stopped training, and they were messing with them. Like throughout the season, they were messing with them. Like Miyagi-Do were trying to raise money for Miguel for his medical bills and stuff, surgery, and Cobra Kai, like Eli / Hawk and a couple of the other people. I don't want to say that one guy's name. What was it, like Ass Face or something like that? But they pretty much beat up someone who used to be in their dojo but went to Miyagi-Do. They beat him up, took the money they raised from car washing, and they said, "Oh, we'll let Miguel know that it's from Cobra Kai," and they beat him up. So it pisses off a lot of the Miyagi-Do students, and Daniel wasn't really around because he's over here looking for Robbie to try to take him, not like take him to jail, but make him willingly turn himself over to make the charges less as terrible. Because if they catch him, then it's going to be more harsh, and that's what he states. So him and his wife Amanda, and even Louis, his cousin Louis, is back. Like they're over here trying to deal with that. Plus, Anush, who went over to the other dealership, he comes in with what's that guy's name? The douche guy. Not Nanush, but the guy who he works for is a douche. Like that's literally what they call him. But he tries to buy off the LaRusso's car company because they're kind of like dealing with a lot of things right now. Like the people are hating on Daniel because it's Daniel's student that kicked off Miguel. So like he's getting hate from that, and they really see this when they went to a student teacher conference thing, and like a lot of people were hating on him, and like they literally had to like sit down because they were mad because their daughter was hurt, and it was a fight that Sam didn't start, so they were trying to voice that, but then a lot of people were piling it on, and their business was of course suffering because of this. So they find out through Louis, who finds out through Anush that Dontoya, some car company that they have that's stationed in Japan, is gonna void their contract soon, and just gonna be like dealing with the other guy who's trying to buy from them. So they have to both handle that, plus try to handle Cobra Kai, because Kreese makes it perfectly clear that it's open season on them. The moment they try to get Cobra Kai shut down. So they went to the guy who leases the place to Cobra Kai and everyone else in that plaza that we see in season 1 and 2, and they pretty much said that they will pay him triple the amount to get him kicked out, to get Cobra Kai kicked out, Kreese. So he said, okay, sure. And he goes there, and he has like his two nephews who are huge, try to kick out John Kreese. And Kreese was like, okay. And then the next thing we see, the lease guy is calling Daniel, and he's saying, I can't kick him out. He can't get out of the contract. And then Kreese takes the phone and he's like, it's open season on you and your students. And then at that point, Daniel and like Amanda's finally on board. Like because before she always just thought like Daniel was crazy every time he talked about this stuff. But now she knows like it's not that Daniel's crazy or what he's saying is crazy. It's that Kreese is crazy. So she wants him to train their Sam and the other students so that they can protect themselves. Because not only that happened, but Dimitri, did that happen at this point though? No, it didn't happen at this point because Daniel was there. No, Daniel was there. No, he wasn't. So Daniel goes to Japan to try to talk to the car company to try to reestablish their contract. And as that's happening, Sam gets caught by her mom from training them and yells at her. And we see that over the course of time that Sam is suffering from a fear because she got hurt from Tori. So like that fear is like instilled in her to the point to where she doesn't have as much confidence in facing Tori. Like she is scared of fighting Tori throughout the majority of the season. So when they go to not really a closed down laser tag place to face off against Cobra Kai for what they were doing to their team, to Miyagi-Do students. They have a fight, and Sam is handling herself just fine. Like she's fighting, she's the best fighter there, and then Hakubi is the best fighter on the other side. So they're all fighting, and then Tori shows up with two other reinforcement Cobra Kai guys, and the moment she comes, Sam starts to have an anxiety attack and is freaking out, and she's like sectioned off to where Tori doesn't see her, and she's just like freaking out. And at that point, she's like seeing like Miyagi-Do's other students getting beaten, and she could do something, but she can't. Like she physically is capable of helping them, but the fear is stopping her. And then they have Dimitri, like his arm is like this, and Hulk breaks it. Like he was egged onto by the others there, like Tori and all the others. They're like, do it, because Kreese is like making them more crazy. So Eli breaks like his arm, and before he does that, like he's like Dimitri is like asking Sam help, like he sees her. I'm pretty sure, or at least she sees him. Like she has a clear view, and she couldn't do nothing. She's just like freaking out. And we see Amanda, the mom, go to the hospital where Sam is just crying, and she's mad, of course, and she's like kind of yelling at Sam at first, but she sees like how much pain her daughter's in emotionally. So she calms down, and like Sam is just crying, like I couldn't do nothing. They broke Dimitri's arm. I couldn't do nothing. I froze. And from that point, she didn't want nothing to do with karate. And we go to Johnny as well. Thanks to Johnny words, Miguel eventually woke up from his coma. And he was visited in the hospital by Hawk and Sam eventually. And he yells at Johnny because of, he's like, I showed mercy. Like, I've done everything you taught me, but look at me. And he's like yelling at him, and he tells Johnny to leave. So Johnny is over here still like moping, that like blaming himself and everything. And thanks to I'm pretty sure it's Bobby. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section below, but I'm pretty sure it's Bobby. Bobby gives him wise words, and he's like, I can even help you see Robbie, because this is another thing. Robbie gets sent to juvie. He kind of gets set up, not really set up, but like Daniel called the cops, and like, but they came rushing in when he was trying to like talk to Robbie. He's like, this is supposed to like, lighten your sentence. Like, it's supposed to make it less harsh. And Robbie felt betrayed. So he wants nothing to do with Dan. And oh crap, I'm sorry, I skipped something. Daniel went to Johnny to work together to try to find Robbie, because Robbie stole one of their older vans and it had a GPS tracker, but Robbie knew about that and he threw it away. But they eventually like tracked him down, or at least tracked down the van, and it was this like rough looking guy who drove it into a warehouse where his other thug friends were. So we get a good fight scene between these thugs, and then, well, Johnny kind of like started it. Like he didn't really start it, but he was more down for it. And we see Johnny fighting, and then we see Daniel fighting, and then eventually they both come together. I guess the last one, who's the biggest one, and Daniel went high and Johnny went low, and they hit him, like one hit him high, one hit him low, and the guy flipped and fell down. And then eventually Johnny was kind of about to kill the guy who they found in the car, and they're like, "Where's the boy you took this car from?" And he told them, like, "I took it from him, but he wasn't in the car, like he left a long time ago, like he ran away or whatever." So Daniel had to like pull him off him, and then they get into a fight because he was like, "You always lose it, like you're crazy, like you're about to kill that guy." So Johnny gets informed that Miguel woke up, so he leaves, taking the van, and Daniel tells him, "You better return that to LaRusso's." And then he gets a call, which is about Robbie, and that's where he goes. So Robbie went to visit the mom in rehab, which is a fancy place that Daniel sent her to. So that part happens, and then we also see Robbie like getting kind of bullied in juvie by some guys who are in there, and his dad Johnny was supposed to see him, but the mom and the grandma was there, and the grandma asked Johnny to stay and pray for Miguel. So he missed going to see Robbie because of this. And mind you, this is still before Miguel wakes up, I believe. But he missed the appointment he had to visit Robbie. And Robbie was kind of actually wanted to see him, kind of thing. So it was only Bobby there and Robbie. And then it just further pushed Robbie away from Johnny even more. So as that happens, we have I'm like skipping around here and there because I'm not going to give you a full-on detail of every single thing that happens, because you can just watch it for that. I'm going to just talk about some major points and stuff. So Miguel is up, and after Johnny goes through what he needed to go through and starts to come back with more confidence in himself and more courage to like face like what's happened and try to make it better, he's more of a sensei in this sense, and he's like, "What?" to Miguel, who was just like, "I can't even move," because Miguel can't feel his legs, he can't move or nothing. So he's like, he already had surgery. Miguel had surgery, but he still had to like kind of relearn how to do it. So Johnny's saying, "I'm gonna help you walk again." So we have like a course of a couple of episodes of where Johnny would do certain activities to help Miguel try to relearn how to walk, or at least move his leg first. So like at first, like Miguel's in a wheelchair and he's home, like outside the house, and Johnny has like a fishing rod and a porn magazine on it. He's trying to like lift it up to make Miguel want to like stand up, and Miguel's like, "It doesn't matter if you dangle any whatever, like it's not gonna help me walk." And then Johnny tries to think of another thing, and he tells him like this story. Like this is like a cut through their next exercise. He tells him like this story, which is completely wrong. And as Miguel is correcting him, he literally lights Miguel's shoes on fire, like his shoestring. And he's like, "Hey, if you want to get set on fire, you better get up." And like Miguel like can't move it to the point where Johnny has to get a fire extinguisher, puts it out, and he's over here thinking, and nothing is working. So I think eventually he talks to the mom, Carmen, and she talked about how she wants to see Miguel smile again or be happy. and that gives Johnny an idea to where he asks her if he could borrow Miguel for a couple of hours. And we see him rolling Miguel down like this hallway where these sketchy looking dudes are at, and there's a bouncer, and he's like, he's not of age, he can't get past his door. And then Johnny's like he gave Miguel like this bag, so Miguel's like had a look, and then he's like, he shouldn't, he's dying, and then Miguel like, huh? And then he goes, he even shouldn't have made it right now. His only wish, one of his bucket lists, is to go behind that door. And then Miguel puts on like an act of like, and then you know, like he catches on and like he plays the act, and then the bouncer's like, he fell down. He's like, go in, pull through, kid. Like, you got this. And then like Miguel's like, oh, thank you. And then they go in, and it's a concert, and like Miguel and Johnny are just like rocking it out. It's a rocking concert pretty much. They're just rocking it out, and Johnny like opened the bag that he gave to Miguel, and he gave him a beer. I don't remember. Yeah, I think Miguel drank from it. I don't remember, but like he opened it at least, and they're like, yeah. Miguel's having fun because back in season 1, like Miguel started to look up the music that Johnny was referring to, and he liked a lot of it. So they were bonding at this point. And then as the rock star was like singing and all that stuff, Miguel's leg was like tapping, and then Johnny sees it, and then he like taps him on the shoulder. He's like, and he points at it, and then Miguel sees it, and then Miguel's like super happy. He's like, he could actually like move his legs. So then it cuts to when they're home, and then the mom's like, do it again, and like he's moving it. He's like, and then Johnny's like, okay, you're not walking yet. And then so like that's like a starter thing right there. And then like the next thing that Johnny tries to do is to get Miguel to be able to at least stand. So he had like this harness that he has set up in his apartment, and he's like lifting Miguel, and Miguel would fall, and it seemed like time passed, like they were doing that for a while, and he kept on falling. And at one point, Miguel, I'm just talking about like Miguel's journey right now. Miguel is on it right now, and like Johnny's holding it, and they get into an argument to where I think they were talking about their girls or whatever. Like, oh, because Miguel met Tori for the first time after waking up, and it didn't really go well, and Tori like goes like the place they were at is where Tori works, and Miguel didn't know, so they got into like a little fight. She leaves, and like he was like in a bad mood, and then Johnny was like, "You over here acting crazy because you see your ex," and then Miguel is yelling at him like, "You all the stuff you made me do for your ex," because Allie messaged him, so he was like going back and forth with Allie, and he wanted to put more pictures up on his Facebook to make it look better. So they spent the whole day going to like museums and stuff like that, like to make Johnny look good, you know, kind of thing. So Miguel is yelling at him like, "You're doing all this for your ex, and you're not even fighting from Cobra Kai that you gave up," and he's just yelling and yelling. And then Johnny's like, "Miguel, look," and like he looks down, and he's standing up, like 'cause like Johnny had the rope before, but like I guess like as he was being yelled at, like you know, he like let it go a little bit to the point where Miguel was standing, and he's over here happy, and like he's hugging Johnny, and he's like, "Thank you," and then Johnny's like, "No, thank you," because these are things that Johnny needed to hear to help like push himself to be the sensei that he's good at being. Like he really helped a lot of these students out. So eventually he gives Miguel these training, like montage of training thing where Miguel has to like walk up this plank. Well, at first Miguel still has the not the walker, but kind of a walker thing, and he's like moving through cones to like build up his mobility, and it transfers to him like walking up a plank and then like going across this wood plank thing, and like Johnny would throw like a ball at him, he'd like catch, and then like he would catch it and the whole fall, and like it's supposed to like teach him be able to like stand without using any crutches. Yes, crutches. I forgot the word crutches for a second, but without using the crutches. So like that happens to, and we don't know the time gap between all this. We just know like it should be months for someone to heal like that. But he eventually is able to do that, and then like it shows Johnny and Miguel walking to the trash with the wheelchair and then with the two crutches, and they throw them into the trash, and then they both like walking off in cool style. But Miguel's not fully healed yet, but he's capable of walking. You know, like at least some pretty normal. Like he's not like in pain when he walks, and he goes back to school. And over here, he's cool with like Hawk and all this stuff. And then he bumps into Sam. They have some words. Sam and him are walk to class together and stuff like that. Like, you know, they're connecting a bit more back like how they used to. And Miguel runs into Dimitri, and Dimitri tells him that they have a lot to catch up on. So, because he has a broken arm now, he's like, "What happened?" So we don't really see what happened, but Dimitri tells Miguel everything that happened since that point. So Miguel goes to Hawk and like, what the heck is wrong with you? Like, kind of thing. Like, you guys are just a bunch of bullies now. So Miguel pretty much wants nothing to do with Cobra Kai at that point. And Johnny wants to start his own dojo, like a new dojo. So Johnny was out looking for different places here and there, and he either didn't know how to sign a contract, he didn't have good credit, so he couldn't get like no good places that he wanted. And then even the crappiest place he'd been to cost $3,000, and he was like, can't do it. So he's talking to this guy, and he's like, so from that fountain to that garbage, I could be here for free? And he goes, yeah, it's a park. So Johnny's like, okay, yeah. So Johnny's gonna have his dojo in the park, like where he trains a student. And he asks Miguel to look for different recruits, which is what Miguel wanted to talk to Hawk about before he found out about what Hawk did. So Johnny shows up at the school, and he hears from Miguel that like no one wants to, you know, join, and that Cobra Kai has turned into pretty much a bunch of jerks because they drank the Kool-Aid, and then, you know, from Kreese. So Johnny sees Hawk and the others. He goes there. He tells them that he's the one that, like, to Hawk specifically, like, he's not the one that made you strong. You were as soft as a baby's butt before when I first met you. I'm the one who made you strong. And he's telling them, like, he's sorry that he gave up before, but he's here now to try to like help them. He wants to teach them the right way. And he told them that to meet at a certain time at the park, like, and he eventually leaves, and Miguel leaves too, I think. But when it was pretty much Miguel, Johnny, and the couple of people that Kreese kicked out, because he started to recruit more people. And Kyler from season 1, who was Miguel's bully and Eli's bully and Dimitri's bully, like, he comes back. Hawk beat up one of Kyler's friends, like the big dude, big bone dude who was in the fight scene in the cafeteria. Like, he gets beat and like bloodied by Hawk. And before, Kyler was like acting like a douche towards Hawk, and Hawk seemed like he was like still afraid, kind of thing, until like he was like, no, I'm up. And then he makes this guy, like, we don't even see the guy's face. We just like see Hawk like stand up after like pounding on him, and his hand is like all bloody. And even Tori was like freaked out. Like, everyone was freaked out 'cause he was like, Hawk was just like pissed off. These are people who bullied him. And then he goes straight up to Kylie, like, and then Kylie's like, he just like looks down like to feel like he doesn't want the smoke. Like, before, he was messing with them, he was making fun of them and all that stuff. And like, he just like, because they were standing next to each other, like close to each other. So like, after he does that, and like Kylie like looks down, he just go back in his spot, and he just like he's the top dog kind of thing. Like, after Miguel's gone, like, he's the top dog, like him and Tori. So we have some side stuff about Tori and stuff, but I'm not gonna get too much into that. Like, she's dealing with her mom, who's her medical condition is getting worse, so she has to work doubles, and she was expelled from school and stuff like that. She stopped going to Cobra Kai for a bit, but then Kreese helped her a little bit with her pervy landlord who was trying to do stuff to, like, because they're late on rent and stuff like that. But like Kreese handled that, so he did do some good, but he did it for selfish reasons. He just wanted her back in class. So, and we get flashbacks of Kreese's past when he was young. So like Kreese in his like late teens to early 20s, and that's a theme. Like I guess like halfway in the season, it's a theme from there, and it's like you show like flashbacks here and there throughout until like the ending, and as that's all happening, we have Daniel go to Japan to try to save the deal, and they pretty much turn it down. So as they turn it down, he's just drinking at a bar, and the bartender gives him some wise advice. He was like, he brought up like if he was here to visit any friends. He was like, no, Miyagi. He mentioned Miyagi like as his old friend and kind of thing, and that he's no longer with us. And then the bartender's like, see, that's the thing with you Americans. Just because someone's dead doesn't mean that you can't talk to them or communicate with them. So he's pretty much saying like you could communicate with people in different ways, not no supernatural type of way, but like going to like where places that you've been with them, like to like pretty much bring them back and to bring back like the feeling of them being with you kind of thing. So, and as he's talking about that, commercial of Okinawa comes on. So Daniel goes to Okinawa, and as he takes a cab there, it's completely different. Like it's more modern. Like it's a mall there, and he was feeling pretty sad about that. And he's talking to a woman who works there, and he was like, "What happened?" And then as she's telling him like how the place has changed, and he was like, "Didn't the villagers feel bad about that? What happened to them?" Like, no, they got jobs and they're able to like have better lives because of it. So then Daniel's over here still kind of conflicted because he was having flashbacks of being there with Miyagi back in the second movie. So he wanted to feel closer to Miyagi again by coming here, but it's different. So as he's going, he sees a bunch of people crowd in the crowd, and it's a bunch of I think like teenage girls dancing, and there's a lady who like showing them how to do it, whose back is turned. As Daniel goes, she turns around, and it's what's her name again? Yuki. No, Yuki was the woman that Miyagi loved. Dang it, I forgot her name already. I'm gonna remember right after this. That's how my memory works. Like when I'm thinking of something, because I'm terrible at names. When I'm thinking about something, I don't know about it until like later on. But he sees the girl, that his love interest from the second movie, and they both talk about like catch up on each other's life. She was never married and couldn't find someone who would pretty much be for her worth marrying kind of thing. And Daniel mentioned how he had a family, wife, and all that he loves, and that his company's in jeopardy. So she takes him to like this place, like this bar place, and she calls Chosen, the guy who pretty much tried to kill her and Daniel in the second movie, like, the teenager kid. He comes in, and she's like, no, I called him. He goes, "You called him? He tried to kill you. He tried to kill me." She's like, yes, and people change. Like, he's not the same way like he used to be. So she pretty much did that to show, because she pretty much knew that he changed already, because like they met up like a couple years before, and I guess like she saw that he changed, but she wanted Daniel to pretty much learn something from him by talking to him, and it's something that Daniel needs to learn. So she went off to go do something that pays off later on. And Chosen and Daniel are Chosen is taking Daniel around and shows him like the more nature instilled part of Okinawa that, and Daniel's like, now this is the Okinawa that I like. And then Chosen and him are talking about karate, and Daniel mentioned how Miyagi told him everything about how the Miyagi-Do karate came from, like originated from. And he goes, you think you know everything? All right, show me. So like he takes him to a dojo and they fight, and he beats Daniel by using moves that Daniel never seen before. And he said that Miyagi never taught you everything about Miyagi-Do. It's not just for defense, because you could defend in other ways. So he takes Daniel was more like can't like show, like he wanted to fight to show that like he was worthy of learning, seeing some of the other secrets of Miyagi-Do that Chosen wouldn't let him see. So Chosen takes him somewhere else, and they fight with various weapons that's under Miyagi-Do. And in a fight that they had, like another fight that they have, he disables Daniel's limbs by hitting certain pressure points. So like when he went like this, like he blocks it up, hits him somewhere under his armpit, which made like Daniel's arm numb. He's like, "What did you do to me?" And then like kicks Daniel's like knee, and like Daniel like drops to it like his knee, and he can't move it. And then he paralyzes Daniel's other arm, and then he like pulls his head back, and he goes, "I wanted to do this for many years." And as he goes, he stops like right there, and he goes, "Honk!" And then he starts laughing because what Daniel did to him back in the second movie. He was like, "Live or die, man." He goes, "Die." He goes, "Wrong." And then he goes, "Honk." So he did it back to Daniel. And when I saw that, I just started laughing because the pure joy off his Chosen's face when that happened, because he always had like this tense, angry face. He was like, you know, just tense. Like after that happened, he just started laughing, and he has like, it was like something that's like that, like the weights on his shoulders is like lifted. Like he was just laughing, and Daniel was able to like move around like after that, and he was like, "What was that?" He was like, "It's pressure points and all this and that." And then Daniel was like, "Can you teach me?" He goes, "Yeah." And like it's like a time skip. I don't know like how long it's been, but it shows them walking down from like the mountains that they went to do that fight, and he was going, well, if you go down this path, you could take a taxi the rest of the way, because Daniel was gonna go meet with his old love interest from the second. Dang it, what was her name? I forgot it. It was just from last night. Too many names. I'm trying to do multiple things. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Dang it. You know what? Nah, hold on. I should have just done this a long time ago. I'm gonna keep on talking. Chosen said that he had a class, so he can't join them because Daniel invited him to come join them. And so they finally like hash it out, and Daniel tells him like, for if it means anything, like I forgive you. And Chosen was like, "Thank you, that means a lot." And he talked about how his uncle, like he wanted to die like after what he did in the second movie, and that his uncle saved him and gave him the chance to prove himself, you know, prove himself as a changed person, like, you know, a good person. Okay, so what was I gonna say? He has a class to teach, so he doesn't go. And when nope, not Yuki, not Chosen. Kumiko! How can I forget Kumiko's face and name? Kumiko. There we go. I knew it was a K. Anyways, so when he goes to meet Kumiko and her friend, it turns out that her friend is the little girl Daniel saved in the second movie he was like up on the pillar, I mean not pillar, but pole, and Daniel climbs up during the hurricane and saves her. And she works for the same Japanese car company that could save his business. So he was like, wait, what? He goes, and then Kumiko was like, as I said before, the energy you get, the good energy you gives out, will come back and help you. And that's what Yuki taught her back in the day. And it skips that point to where Daniel returns and he sees the issues that they were having there, and how Sam was suffering and didn't want to fight anymore. And like, he took her on a boating ship trip, and we get some dialogue of how last time she went was with Miyagi and Daniel, like back when she was a little girl, and that she did the boat standing thing that Daniel did in the first was it the first movie? Yeah, the first movie, to teach balance. So she still didn't want to do any of that, but they fished and all that stuff, had their heart to heart talk. She still didn't want to do karate, and they have another talk like by the car, and at that point she was feeling a bit better, but not like, she was still scared, but she understood that her dad was still there for her after the fact. And he takes her to where they have the All Valley tournament, and he tells her a story of when he had fear, which was in the third movie when he was fighting that one guy that Kreese and Terry Silver had, like, who was supposed to be like one of the best fighters, like, and it shows the flashback of that too. And he told her how Miyagi was there to like give him some words of advice, but at the end of the day, it was still down to him. Like, he was the one who had to like get back up and fight, and that's what he did, and he won. So he told her that story and said, once you find something worth, fighting for, you would be able to possibly do it yourself. And when that time comes, I'll be here for you. So they end that on a good note, and it transitions to where Miguel and Sam are trying to save the All Valley tournament, which is going to get canceled from the councilmen of their town. So Kreese, Johnny, and Daniel all tried to like save it too, but they all just ended up arguing with each other and were told to sit down. And then Miguel comes and he starts to talk about it, saying how he was the guy who was kicked off and he learned how to rewalk, and how it was all thanks to his sensei, and that without karate he would still be bullied and he wouldn't know where he would be at right now. And Sam came down because she was sitting up there with her mom and her dad, but her dad came down and the mom get kicks out because she can't be within 200 feet or 200 yards of Kreese, because he filed a lawsuit against her because she hit him, and she was gonna file one against him after that, but he beat her to it. So now he's pretty much taking them on by being smart. Like, he's doing everything smart to like where they look like the bad guys. And the same thing was happening with Cobra Kai students and the Miyagi-Do students in school. Like, Hawk and all of them were making it seem like the Miyagi students were the ones always causing the trouble. So they kept on getting detention and in trouble and stuff like that. So he was doing that here, and then Sam and Miguel gave their speech, which caused the councilmen to all vote and say, as long as you guys sign waivers, and if you guys really care about it that much, then sure, it's back on. And Reese uses this as ammo to tell his students that their enemies are making allies, so they have to come together, because different people like Kyler and Hawk don't like each other. And then Robbie comes out of juvie and he joins Kreese, because Kreese went to visit him once, gave him like one advice of striking first, because Robbie was getting in fights, and it was like 3 against 1 kind of thing. So, and they always started it, so he would get beaten because he was outnumbered pretty much. And the moment he struck first, he was at least able to not win the fight because it got broken up, but he was doing far better than when he didn't hit first. So he just had it with Kreese and I mean not with Kreese. He had it with Daniel and Johnny. He didn't want to deal with them, so he goes to Kreese, and he just slept at Cobra Kai for like one night and he was gonna leave, but then like Tori talked to him a little bit to like into like staying a little bit more because she met him at the juvie center because they both, I mean not juvie center but the parole officer place, and she gave him advice and he understood that she also is dealing with a trouble past like he was or is. So he's kind of stayed, but he goes with them on a mission. And his mission is to break into a zoo and take a snake. Now, Hawk came up with everything, like all the planning and all this stuff. And Kyler was supposed to bring like a double snake, like a fake double snake, and he forgets that. And then a guard comes because he hears them, but we don't see him. We just like he's like, hey. So they run, and Robbie takes the snake off screen, like takes it and has it in a bag. So they're like, Hawk is like pissed off. He's like, I remembered every single detail about this. He knew like the time the guards were going on break and all this, where the cameras were. And he was like pissed. And then like Robbie was like, nope, I got it right here. And like they were all like praising him, which made Hawk feel like a little like type of way because you know he's the one who came up with all the planning and stuff. So Robbie was kind of more solidifying his role in Cobra Kai by getting the others to like like him, even though that wasn't his goal. That's just the result of what happened. So as that's happening, Miguel and Sam pretty much get back together by the small instances of them already meeting, already like repaired a lot of the old wounds that they had against each other, which was more just like misunderstandings and whatnot. So, and Daniel even like walked in on like them making out at one point, and Robbie saw them like they weren't making out, but like they were like kind of like playfully like training, like fighting, and he sees that and he tries to start with like a fight with Miguel, but Miguel's still hurt, so he can't like fully on fight. So Sam like blocks Robbie's hit and like pushes him back and says, "No, stop." And then Robbie takes that as her siding with Miguel. So he's like, "You two deserve each other," and then he leaves. And that further pushes him towards Kreese. So Kreese tells Robbie and the others that about what happened at the council meeting and how Sam and Miguel, came together to save the thing and that make a great team and all that stuff, which makes Tori looks at Robbie and like in a shocked face, like what the hell? And they both look at each other, and then Kreese like dismisses them, and then like Tori walks out, and eventually it leads up to where Johnny makes his he already, like I said, he had like his dojo meeting in the park, and he invited like Hawk and all that stuff, and Hawk told the other Cobra Kai's and Kreese, and they showed up, and they kind of issued like our last like offer, like join us kind of thing, and he's like, nah, like we didn't come here to fight, and then they leave. But at that point, that I think was a turning point for. No, I don't want to get to that part yet. I'm gonna say that for later. But excuse me. I'm just gonna get back. Like, Allie comes back. Allie from the first movie, the first love interest of Daniel, and the old love interest of Johnny. She comes back. She comes back in episode 10. Episode 10, right? Yeah, 10. So she comes back and she spends like most of the day with Johnny, and it's literally the day after Johnny and Carmen hooked up. Miguel's mom, like they hooked up, and like she said, she has to go to work, and that later tonight they could talk, about them, like what are they gonna do next. And then Allie hits them up saying, "I'm back in town. Do you want to hang out for get lunch or something?" So that's what they did, and it turns out to be something that Johnny really needed, because this is someone who was not only his first love, but one of his best friends, who he could easily talk to. So she, after having a great time together, they talk about each other's kids and the fact that she now is separated from her ex-husband. So when it looked like they were about to kiss, she gets a call from her mom, and she was supposed to meet them at a dinner. So she invites Johnny there, like, you got a seat, right? Kind of thing. So Johnny shows up, and no, this is episode 9 of this episode. So Johnny shows up, and he's like, has a white tux, and he sees Allie there, and then she's talking to Daniel, and then they hugged, and then it shows like a flashback of when Johnny first sees Allie and Daniel talking back in the first movie, and then he has like a look, and it ends there, and then that's where the 10th episode starts. But it shows us like what happens before that. Like, Daniel walks in with Amanda, she goes off somewhere, he goes to get them drinks, and then Allie sees him, and they hug and talk, like, hey, it's nice to see you, kind of thing. That's when it shows Johnny, and the waiter almost like crashes into him. He goes, hey, I'm wearing white here, idiot. And then they both see him, because he's not really that far away, and they're like, Johnny, what are you doing here? He's like, and then like Johnny and Daniel kind of have this thing, like, they always arguing kind of thing, and she goes, oh, so I see you guys have met each other before this point. They're like, maybe a couple of times. That's what they say. So they catch her up on everything of what happened, and Amanda comes back, and Daniel mentioned that was his ex-girlfriend, or I think Allie mentions it, ex-girlfriend from high school. She goes, oh, I gotta talk to you. And she goes, okay, yeah. So them two already bond, like, close. And we have them sitting at a table together talking about stuff that happened with Daniel back after the first movie. So, like, how we find out that they broke up in the second movie, but they go a little bit more detail about that, but not too much. And then Allie kind of gives them more of some wise words, saying, maybe you two, like, you say one thing and you say the opposite. Maybe there's more than one side to more than one side, and they go, yeah, there's two. And then she's like, no, there's three. Your side, and the truth. I think you both always argue because you see things that are similar in yourselves and each other, and you guys don't like that part. And then they both agree, like, yeah, that's it, kind of thing. So as they're leaving, Daniel and Amanda leaves, and Johnny talks to Allie for a little bit, and Allie mentions how Amanda told her about Carmen, and she asks about that, and they pretty much end it on a good note. They hug, and she pretty much gives Johnny like the okay to, like, like, it's okay to open up to someone else. So as that whole dinner was going on, like the dinner that the parents were at, Miguel and Sam made a plan to have both of their dojos to, like, team up against Cobra Kai. So they meet up at Sam's place. Like, Sam already has Miyagi-Do there, and then that's when Miguel and I guess the name would be Eagle Fang Fist, which is what Johnny named their dojo. Like, they arrive, and Dimitri actually gave some good wisdom to the others what was his name? His real name? Well, to two of the guys who came with Miguel, who were going to leave, and it caused them to, like, stay and want to actually work together. And then there was like a cat sound at the door, so one of the kids who were with them went outside to, like, let the cat in, and then Miguel's like, I didn't know you had a cat, and then Sam was like, I don't. And then you just see the same kid who went outside gets thrown through a window, beaten up, and he goes, it wasn't a cat. And then walks in is Hulk and some of the Cobra Kai people, and Kyler, Hulk, and a bunch of the other no names. So they come in, and then it's a fight. it is a fight. Miyagi-Do and Ego Fang Fist and versus Cobra Kai. And mind you, Cobra Kai has an advantage here. They have more numbers collectively. Like the other two dojos had to team up to meet those numbers, is what I'm saying. And they've been training more than the others. And then Miguel's not at 100%. And Sam mentally is at 100%. But physically she can still fight. So, and Tori's there too, of course. So Tori is fighting other people and Sam is fighting other people until it's them. And then Sam leaves. And then Kyler goes after Miguel. And Miguel was pretty much getting beaten. Like, he did some blocking and stuff, but like he couldn't like fight at his 100%. So he's getting beaten by Kyler. Like, Kyler is like punching him, like kicking him, throwing him against things. Like, Miguel is getting beaten. And it's like switching scenes. So you see like a bunch of the other team members like fighting each other, like Dimitri and I think it was Ass Face, whatever his real name is. Like, he's fighting, like two kids fighting, Hawk fighting, like they're all just fighting. And there's a point where one of the Cobra Kai's have Dimitri back, like how his arm like that, so they're ready to break it again. And one of the other Cobra Kai members like hits Eli, I think in the face, and Hulk is like across like a hallway kind of thing, and he sees that, and then like they signal to him and like, Hulk, free hit, and then Hulk is having not flashbacks, but like he's looking around and he's seeing people who were his friends, like Assface and Miguel and other people like getting beaten on, and he looks back at Dimitri and he sees Dimitri's like about to have his arm broken again, and he just like has a determined look, and then he's running, and he just like he runs down like this path like towards them, and then he jumps up, kicks the guy who first hit Dimitri, and then he also like grabs the guy who was holding Dimitri's arm and like flips him, and you hear a Hawk sound like like you always see, and then Dimitri like is like kind of like shocked and like suspicious and kind of scared. He stands up and like backs away, and Hawk apologized to him like, I'm sorry for everything. You want to work together with me so we could take these guys down? And then they both shake hands, and then they're working together, like Dimitri's like throwing him, but like holding his hand, like throwing him, and Hawk is like kicking like one of the Cobra Kai guys, because the Cobra Kai guys are now gonna be fighting against Hawk because they know that he switched, so like they're fighting together, and Miguel is remembering words that Johnny told him when he was in a coma, and he sees Hawk and Dimitri fighting together side by side, and he is like, it awakens, like he also has like a flashback of the fight he had in when he was in coma, and it gives him like that push that he needed. So when Kyler tries to like hit him, like he does like a move, and Kyler like grabs him in like a headlock and tries to like flip him, and Miguel like flips like with it, but he lands like on his feet this time and like hits Kyler. Kyler like grabs him, because Kyler was in wrestling too, so he has wrestling and Cobra Kai style fighting, and like they broke off, and then Miguel was able to eventually finish off Kyler by being capable of doing his flip kicks and moves, and he comes back and he takes Kyler down. Like, Kyler is knocked out, and then it switches back to Sam versus Tori, and Tori is beating on Sam kind of thing, and Sam's trying to defend, and Tori eventually destroys a picture of Miyagi, and Sam sees that, and that's what gets her out of her funk to where she's not scared of her no more. Then she starts to fight Tori to the point where she gets a bow staff that she was training with her dad a few episodes ago, and she's using that as Tori's using nunchucks. And it ends the fight with Tori knocking the weapon out of with Sam knocking the weapon out of Tori's hand, and that's when Hawk, Dimitri, and Miguel comes in, and they're like, "Tori, it's over." And then Tori was pretty much saying like, it's not over. And then she about to leave, and she tells Hawk to watch his back, and then Dimitri was like, he doesn't need to. He got friends to watch his back. So as that's happening, Johnny goes back home, and he was gonna go to Carmen actually. He was like rehearsing his words, saying, I'm ready to move on to the next step. And he was like, I love you. And then as he like knocked on the door and opened the door, knocked on the door. Carmen opened the door, and she's like has a face, and then he was like, she goes like, something happened. He goes, huh? And then like she opens the door, and it's Miguel like all bruised up, because remember he was getting beaten on. Like he has like ice pack, and like he's like all injured and bloody. And then Johnny's like shocked, and he goes, he like his face is changing to serious, like what happened? And then you see Johnny go to Cobra Kai, and he like kicks the door open. Yeah. Well, he goes in, and then he kicks one of the doors open, and he sees Kreese training Robbie, and Robbie was trying to like talk Johnny into joining them, and Johnny and Kreese gets into a fight to where Johnny not ultimately wins, but Johnny like gets him down and even picked up a weapon. Like he picked up a weapon, and then Robbie was like, "No, don't." Like he drops it, and then like he takes Kreese down, but then Robbie starts to fight him, and then Johnny's like, "I'm not gonna fight you." Like he's blocking, but like he's not throwing any hits, and then like it gets to a point where Robbie went for a hit, and then Johnny like deflects it, and kind of I think he pushes Robbie like to like move him away, and Robbie like slips and slides, and then hits his head on a locker, and then he's like, Johnny's like, "Damn it!" And then like he goes and like checks on him to make sure like he's not seriously hurt, and Kreese gets the same weapon that Johnny had, and he doesn't like use the sharp end, but like he hits Johnny twice and throws him on the floor, and then like Johnny's like kind of like out of it, but like he like comes back together when Kreese was gonna actually like look like he was gonna kill him, and he kicks the weapon out of Kreese's hand, and they get into like a little tuffle, but Kreese gets him into like this headlock to his throat, and he was gonna kill him, and then out of nowhere Kreese gets kicked. And who's that foot belongs to? No, Daniel. This is what we all was waiting for. Like anyone who watched the first two seasons was like, they have to come together to fight Kreese in some type of way. And this is where it comes. And Daniel is pissed. He's like, "You sent them to my daughter in my house!" And they get into it. Daniel is over here fighting against Kreese. And then Kreese eventually, him and Kreese eventually like go out of the glass window. And Kreese seems like he's, Kreese is a badass. Like he's over here, like after fighting Johnny, is over here fighting Daniel, and he picks up a glass piece of glass that came from the broken window, and he was gonna use it. And Daniel uses the move that Chosen taught him, the pressure points. So when he went to stab Daniel, Daniel moves it and then like used the same thing to paralyze that arm, paralyze his leg, paralyze his other arm, and then Johnny comes walking out, and then Kreese has like this fear, like the scared look on his face, and then like Daniel looks at Johnny, and Johnny's like, and then he goes, it looked like he was gonna kill Kreese. It looked like he was gonna knock him out. There's no point. The way that scene looked, Daniel was going to kill him. Like he was getting ready, and then Sam comes running saying, "Dad!" And Miguel's like running right behind her, and he stops, and then shortly after, Kreese like is able to stand back up because it only lasts for a short time, and Kreese says that pretty much Johnny said like, "Cobra Kai's over, you gotta leave," kind of thing. He goes, "Okay, how about this? We'll settle it at the tournament. If you guys win, I leave. But if I win and they go, that's not gonna happen." So they now have to they're pretty much setting up season 4. So season 4 is going to be, I think, training that ultimately leads to the tournament. So it ends with Robbie coming back, and he tells everyone to just leave except Kreese, of course. So not Johnny. Daniel is at Miyagi-Do, and he has like his headband and he has like his jumper suit on. He walks out and he has the students there, and then like Sam is like in the front and like she's smiling, and then she looks to the side, and then it shows Miguel walking up, and then behind Miguel is all the other people from Eagle, Fang, Fist. I'm gonna have to really think about that to remember that, because it doesn't roll off the tongue. So then they go and stand next to, like, most of them have people who they're close with. So Hulk stands with Dimitri, Miguel stands with Sam, and so on and so forth. So the two little kids stand next to each other. I don't remember their names. And then Johnny's the last one to come through, and he goes to stand by Daniel, and then all the students bow towards them, and then they bow towards the students, and then they face each other, and then they both bow to each other, and then they turn back towards the students, and they're like, ready? They go, yes, yes, sensei, and then that's where it ends. So we're gonna have Johnny and Daniel both teaching these kids. So Daniel's style is more off for defense. It's more of strong defense, and then Johnny's side is more a strong offense. So with them together, both, like, their students should have a strong defense and strong offense. Now, what I'm waiting for is to see, like, how the training is going to be. Like, I want to see some cool ass training. So I love training. I just love it in my anime and everything. So I want to see what they're going to do, what's going to happen. I want to see how, like, if there's going to be any conflicts, because Johnny's training could be something that Daniel might not agree with, such as the cement training thing that they did. Like, he was not going to agree with that. So I'm interested to see what kind of training they do, because both of them are like master level fighters. Like, they could fight Kreese one-on-one, and I mean, Johnny had him beat until Robbie came, and then Daniel had him beat too. So they're both capable of fighting someone who's pretty badass himself. Because Kreese is, come on, like, Kreese can handle himself. And another cool thing is we have a flashback of that shows, I'm pretty sure that's Terry Silver. I'm pretty sure, but the one who turned out to be Terry, I didn't think was Terry. I thought the other guy was Terry until he got shot. But it shows us, like, the decline of how Kreese was. Like, Kreese was a good person until, like, in these flashbacks we see, like, what shaped him into what set him off to being, you know, a douchebag. So, oh, my battery's gonna die, so I can't really talk as much, so I'm gonna end it here. But it ends with Johnny getting on the phone and making a phone call, which we all assume to be Terry. So this is something that I've seen a lot of people want. So hopefully we see Terry Silver episode 1, season 4. Let me know what you thought of Cobra Kai. If you have anything else you want to say, leave it down in this comment section below. Like, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Peace!